Alright guys, what is going on? Oink here, and today we have got some brand new seasonal events. So of course, as usual, we're going to go through each race and the car that I used, all that good stuff. It's the World Classic Car Series, and we're going to start off with the regulation settings and the different events. So the entry requirements, as I said, is the performance points of 500 maximum. Tyres is comfort soft and anything from 1969 and before. We've got a Tsukuba, Rome Circuit, Trial Mountain, Circuit of South 2005, and a custom Eiffel kart track to finish it off. The car that I used is the Alfa Romeo Guilia TZ2. And I chose this before I realised what the prize was. The prize for this is also this exact same car, but you can buy it from the dealership. Anyway, LSD wise, because we're on the comfort tyres, really ramp the LSD settings really low so you don't get too much wheel spin on the exit. I put on a turbo and then engine depowered right down. Don't really know why I did that, just I don't know, felt like putting a turbo on it. And you can also play with the aerodynamics, just kind of get it to the performance points that you need, say 500 for example. And we'll get straight into Tsukuba, and probably the hardest of the set. This generally seems to be the case with Tsukuba because it is like that much tighter. You're having to pass guys much more frequently, which means that you can't make as many mistakes in your passing, and it's more easy to get stuck in behind the AI. So yeah, first off, obviously make sure that you're not crashing behind the AI. You're going to be needing to get pretty decent lap times to catch the guy in first. Usually it is a Ginetta G4 or G5 or whatever they're called. Really cool little cars. Maybe if you like using standard cars, maybe try using that for this event if you don't have this car here. Yeah, he's pretty nippy, so you want to be getting good lap times on this. I think it was like 1 minute 6s or something. No, wait, well, that was for the first lap. I can't remember. We'll have a look once it pops up on the screen. I'll remember back. But you want pretty decent lap times. You can't afford to be bumping in and getting stuck behind AI. Yeah, so 1 minute 6 on my first lap, and then you want to be looking at 1 minute 5s. No slower than 1 minute 6s at all for the rest of your laps, but definitely you want to go for that like 1 minute 6 area for your first lap and onwards. And then I got excited by the prospect of being able to lap someone on the final corner and went off trying to get by him. So there was Tsukuba, and from here on it pretty much gets a lot easier, let's just be honest. Ensure to alter your transmission. If you're not using this car, make sure you pick up a custom transmission. If you're using this car, it comes equipped with a custom transmission, so just make sure for Tsukuba it's like right near the bottom, and then increase it for the next lot, and that'll give you pretty good. Obviously take the draft wherever you can. There's a few long-ish straights around here. The car's got quite a good amount of lift-off oversteer, and to be honest, like this car is driving aids wise, by the way, not just ABS 1, nothing else. But this car is like incredible to handle. I mean, it's not super fast, I guess, is one of the reasons, but like most cars are not easy to handle, and you've got to be very patient on comfort tires. This car like feels like you're on racing tires. Like it's seriously really nippy on the comfort tires. Very fun to drive, which is why I recommend using it. And the LSD settings that I showed you at the start will even add to that, give you really good acceleration out of the corners. Anyway, it's got a nice amount of lift-off oversteer, so when you're coming into tighter corners, drop into second and then lift off the brakes, and then the car will just kind of slide nicely into the corner. I take first. He kind of changes line right at the last second, which pushes me into the wall, but I get the inside line and take him at the end of lap 4. And get the win there, lapping, well, the best was a 1:23, I think, on the board there. Third track then, which is Trial Mountain. Super easy. We're only 3 laps here. Generally, actually, a pretty short event. I think like 5-minute races, I would estimate at. Somewhere, no, I guess Tsukuba was a bit longer, but for the most part, like only like 5 or 6 minute races for all of these. So yeah, pretty quick event in total, which is always nice, and the credits aren't too bad. And the prize, and you get this car as a prize. So if you don't have this car, I maybe say take the Ginetta. That's kind of used. I just say take this car. I mean, it's not super expensive. I think it's like 7 million or something. That's a total guess. Might not be 7 million. But if it is, just buy the car. I mean, like, seriously, if you can't make 7 million, then you are doing something wrong. I don't know. Anyway, maybe this car is even from a prize, from something. I'm not sure. But anyway, if you can find another car to complete this event, which I'm sure you will, then grab this car. I also tried using the Mercedes 300 SL, but the thing felt like a ton of bricks driving around, even with all of the weight reductions on. So I didn't go with that in the end. This was much better to use. Anyway, Trial Mountain is generally pretty easy. You can see I've already passed half the grid, half the field, and I'm not even at the end of lap 1 of 3. And so yeah, I mean, obviously along the straights, for example, in the tunnel, and then when you go up that hill, and then obviously down here as well, just take a bit of draft and boost your speed where you can. And yeah, as long as you keep it nice and clean, really shouldn't have any problems. Get a 1:45 first lap, take first about halfway around at the other side of the tunnel on lap 2, so yeah, plenty of space here for some PP reductions maybe, get a good amount of credits. And then we move on to South. Ensure for this one that you have a really high back end to your transmission, so that when you get onto the straights you can draft to your heart's desire. You don't want to be hitting your limiter, because the cool thing with some of like these cars that you race against, I say cool, like obviously it's not cool for them, but they have like a cap to max speed and the AI doesn't change the transmission properly, so a lot of them will just like get stuck at 140 or 130 or something, and you can just blaze past them in the stream. So a super easy one, this one. Like you should pass him with like a good like 10 seconds. Like I can't even remember what the gap was, but I mean you should pass him sort of maybe somewhere. Well, you'll see where I pass him. I've cut out the straights, by the way, so otherwise this video would be like 15 minutes long. So basically what I've done is I've just got the technical sections in the video. The rest of it is literally just the bits that I've cut out is just the straights. All you want to be doing is drafting down the straights. All of the corners I've left in, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I mean, as long as you are drafting and not running into like, you know, heaps of sand, you should be fine. One thing to note, interestingly, I guess to kind of, I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but I guess to throw back to the fact that these are old cars, they've used the 2005 version of this track, which is very rarely used. I've barely driven this track, at least compared to the, I think it's the 2009 version, which is the one with all the weather effects and things. And it is a little bit different. Early on it's slightly different, and also like right near the end it's a little bit different, and it kind of throws you off. Like the sand is in different places, and if you're used to driving the 2009 circuit, your like eyes will be looking for braking points and markers that you're used to taking, and they won't be there on this track. So that is one thing just to be careful of. It is going to look ever so slightly different. I actually quite like the way this track looks. It's a little more rustic looking. It looks more like a French road than like a massive racetrack, which is like how it kind of looks in the 2009 one. I don't know. Quite fun anyway. We don't generally drive the 05 model, so it is nice for a little change. Anyway, you see, I took the guy in first, just before that final like long straight section where you do that kind of dog leg left, right, and then onto a straight. So a long way ahead here, and again another one where potentially, you know, a big decrease down for performance points if you want to maximize your credits for this, or credits or XP or anything like that for this one here. And my lap is only a single lap of this one, was a 4:56, and that was the first time. I mean, that wasn't very quick. I made not the best braking in some places. Anyway, moving on to the final, which is the Eiffel Custom. It's fairly simple, this one. It's got quite a few tight like hairpins like that one, where and maybe a little bit of camber, and the car will understeer just slightly. But the guy in first is easy enough to catch that you don't need to worry too badly if you're having a bad time here or anything. But as usual, as I always recommend for these custom tracks, is you may just want to run it once, like practice, and you know, if you don't win, then don't worry about it. And then when you go in next time, you'll be ready and you'll know all of your braking points and all of the corners ahead of time. I was kind of doing this, I don't know, by ear, I guess. Like, that doesn't really make sense. It's kind of a music term, but yeah, playing this one by ear, I think this was like my first time actually going around the track, so it was a little bit, yeah, off, not the best. But as you can see, like, you don't really need to be perfect to get the wins here. I guess similar to Tsukuba, the AI, because it's quite a narrow track, might kind of block you off in places, so just make sure you kind of like do that, basically, just like attack them down the inside, and they usually kind of see you coming and try and move out the way. And they also slide off into the dust on the left there, so just watch out for that. Anyway, get a 125-ish per lap, take first just near the start of lap 5 out of 5 and finish the race. So that concludes this set of seasonals. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and we'll see you on Sunday for another one. Peace.